Hey guys, I'm here today with Shaundra Scott, and oops, I am. Where are you, Shaundra? There you are. Hey guys, I'm here today with Shaundra Scott, and about almost a week ago, Monday, I sent her a text at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, Shaundra, I just read this article, and they were talking about like the fringe theory with regards to elections, and I said, you know what? You got to clarify this for me because I don't understand this. Actually, I wish you would speak about it. And when she spoke, he raised the roof. So guys, I wanted to bring her on today just to talk a little bit about this, about what's going on with the political process, because it is so key. You hear every time, this is an important election. Gotta worry about this, gotta worry about this. This is so key because this is the first layer of the cake and the 7-layer cake that if we don't address this, the cake is really gonna fall. Shaundra Scott. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Good, good, good. So can you please do me a favor and tell me a little about the fringe election theory, the independent state doctrine?
Absolutely. So basically, I'm an attorney, and what I do is I do a lot of election type of law, making sure that any laws that are passed are up to par and that everyone is afforded their vote with a free and fair election. So within that, we're monitoring different things that come down the pike. Anyone that wants to propose any type of legislative changes to the law, we're going to be watching that to make sure there's no adverse effects in regards to people being able to vote. So within that, there is a case that has independent state doctrine, and that's the fringe conversation that we're reading about. And the reason why that's important is because that will change the landscape of our democratic process in a major way. Right now, we have, oversight. If someone is creating a law or it's something that we feel is unjust in any type of way, when it comes to elections, we can go to court. We can seek some type of remedy or at least some type of clarity on exactly what this means.
What court are we going to?
We are, I think this is going to be probably federal court, but it will address and affect state court because right now, this specific case is at the Supreme Court level for the US Supreme Court. So this case started in North Carolina dealing with our gerrymandering. And because the court decided that how the maps were drawn, they were unfair, the Republicans have made the argument that courts should not be involved in making decisions when it comes to elections and that the states should have all the power. And that's where that independent state doctrine comes
from. So if the state has all the power, then who would make the decision? Would it be the state Senate, the state House?
It would be the state legislators. I'm not 100% sure on which one, but I think there would have to be some type of meeting of the minds in regards to the state, the Senate, and the House. But the thing about it is that they can make this, if you have a state where it's very heavy, one party or the other, then those particular interests can be advanced without the court going back to be able to say, or us having that avenue to say, this is not being applied fairly across the board. So that's where the issue will come in. And let's just say, for all intents and purposes, that it does pass this independent state doctrine, where you were saying the bottom layer, that's where these midterms are so important because the people that we elect to the House and to the Senate are the ones that will be making these decisions.
So it would be the state House, state Senate. Can it come from the people? Can it come from a mayoral candidate? Can it come from a councilman? It's solely one of those groups that will say that will actually decide what the districting is going to be.
Exactly. It would just be the legislature. And they are making the argument that, hey, if we pass this thing, then it stands as it is. And no one should be able to, even if you take us to court, our argument is that we make the decisions as far as election laws and it should stand as is without any interference from the courts. So I think there's no oversight anymore. There's going to be increasingly no oversight. And that's when things can really go left.
Mm-hmm. So the reason why I asked that about, different entities getting involved, it is very important, then I would assume, to vote down ticket and make sure we're heavily looking at the state Senate, the state rep, etc., because those are the people that could potentially make our vote not count.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, just think about it in the same vein of like we heard all of this about the overturning or reversal of Roe v. Wade. And now in that vein, that was a federal decision. So all across the board, everyone had a right or access to make their own decision. Now that that's been reversed, now that decision is left to the states. And so even with that, the state, North Carolina, could put something on the ballot the same way Kansas did this week, regarding, do we want pro-life, pro-choice? And you can vote. So it's going to be at this base level. It's going to be at the people that we elect. If we need to really start looking not so much at the election, but once we get these people in office, we need to be looking at their scorecard. We need to be looking at what they did do in those 2 years. Did they advance laws that benefit me? And when I say me, I mean all of us, and us thinking about this, because that's where the rubber meets the road, and that's how we have to start shifting our thinking, because just going out to vote isn't going to do all of the things.
Right, right. And when I was saying make our vote not count is when you look at gerrymandering, people can actually, or the state legislators and the state house, what they can do is they can craft out different territories or different congressional districts to make sure that it is all within, all favoring a party. So I believe one of the complaints was they had made a completely different, not necessarily geographically favorable redistricting of the map last time. And then based on the way that they had kind of gerrymandered it, they had to go before the state Supreme Court. And then basically it was decided that that was illegal or unjust, right? Improper interpretation. And basically redistrict it so that it could be more balanced. It's still not balanced in the state of North Carolina, but that was one of the goals, was making sure that it was more balanced based on the residents that live there, and making sure that it was geographically conducive, not designed to be geographically favorable towards a particular part.
Exactly. And I mean, you know, that's so important. And when you look at a lot of this stuff, and things that I have learned, because like I said, I've always worked in like nonprofit and things in regards to like civil rights, but being in election law, that's brand new. And so I have learned so much, and it's difficult to understand the gerrymandering. I've had to read so many different things and ask people so many different questions, because a lot of this stuff, even though we're like, we got to be in the know, we have to have someone to be able to explain it to us, because it's a lot of things are set up and designed for the average person not to be able to understand. We get frustrated, and then we say, well, I'm no longer going to deal with this. And so we have to push through that, understanding what this gerrymandering means, how it's set up, and how it is designed to X out certain voters and certain votes, or keep you from voting and that type of thing. So you're absolutely correct in regards to making the map more fair, making sure that it's equitable distribution across the board, so that we don't have a situation, like you said, favoring one party over another.
So the bottom line is, in order to have your voice heard, or to be a part of the districting or redistricting component, you really need to vote. Down ticket, right? Because if you vote for the U.S. senator or the U.S. state senator or state house that represents your values, then that redistricting in the long term will actually represent your values as well. You'll make sure that your voice is heard.
Exactly.
How can your voice not be heard through the gerrymandering and redistricting component? Because,
well, basically, it's designed to, like you said, carve out certain areas so that it benefits a particular candidate or incumbent. And so what the goal is that if you can draw the boundaries and the lines to where a certain candidate does not have to work so hard, that it's a guarantee that they're going to win, it's going to be hard for you to get somebody that represents you and looks like you, because of the way the lines are drawn. And so if you have an area, like I'm from South Carolina, I'm from Charleston, and so Congressman Clyburn, he is in a specific area, and in that area is predominantly African American. However, you know, we have other areas that have African Americans, and they want to see someone elected that represents their values. But the way they've drawn the lines, it could be, I think we've all had the situation where you're in a neighborhood and the person across the street is in a different county, and so on and so forth. So that's how the split happens. That's how they dilute the voice. And so there's not enough of, you know, this particular demographic group to vote in their specific interest because another demographic group is the majority. And so that's how it works to dilute your vote or it'll make it seem like your vote is not going to count.
Right. And so basically also, if you think about this, if you live in one county, they could make it one congressional district, they can make it 2 congressional districts, they can make it 3 congressional districts. They could design it to make sure that it is most favorable for their particular party, or a group can, to make sure it's most favorable for their particular party. So once again, making sure that things are fair, equitable, that we are not, you know, completely distorting the geographical map to make sure that it's more favorable or an easy win for a political party. Once again, this all starts at, right here. Got it. A little bit. This all starts with, once again, voting down ticket. We have to make sure that each and every candidate has a look-see and has an opportunity to receive your vote. Because look at it this way also, think about a chair, right? You sit on the chair, you got the chair, you got the back, but the chair is not going to do anything for you without those legs. So we need to make sure that we're voting for down ticket candidates to make sure that, once again, the politicians that are in state positions and US positions or federal positions, et cetera, have those legs, have that strength, have the pinnacles to succeed and work on your best behalf. Is there anything else that you can think of that you can, because this is an attorney, and so, you know, attorneys know a lot. So help me out on the legal end. Is there anything else that you can think of that I should be sharing with people at this time?
I think one of the main things going into the same vein of you speaking about voting down the ballot is that one of the things that we can do as voters is educate ourselves on who's running. I know there were many times I've seen people, you know, they're focused and they're doing the right thing and they want to vote and they go to vote, but they don't know anybody. They're just like, I know one name, one race, and I'll just, you know, they may not check somebody because they don't know who it is. So I would encourage everybody to do their due diligence as we are going into the election, and any election going forward for that matter. You can always go online to the State Board of Elections or within your county and request a copy of your sample ballot. And that way you can get the sample ballot and see all of the races, because there are races that are going to be the same across the state, but then there are also going to be races that could be specific to your county. You could be voting for sheriff, all of these things. And so I would encourage everyone to go online, pull their sample ballot, see what the names are, and then do your own research. You know, Google is our friend. We can go online and we can Google the different candidates and get all of that information so you can make a very informed decision as you get, and you can print it out, you can do your research, and you can put on that form, I'm going to vote for this person in this race, and have that with you so that when you go, you can look at your form and you can check off who it is that you wanted to vote for. There's also sometimes they add referendums on a lot of these ballots. And sometimes I've seen, you don't know what the referendum is and you're standing in the line and then somebody, a poll worker, comes and hands you a slip of paper to say, when you get in there, you're gonna have to vote on this. And it's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo. Another reason why looking at your sample ballot, so you can look at that referendum if there is one, and if you need help deciphering it, you can reach out to someone in whatever respective party or whatever the case may be and get somebody to explain that to you.
What about poll workers? What if somebody wants to be a poll worker? What if somebody wants to get on the inside? I mean, I've heard both parties talk about how important it is to have people inside the polling places, making sure that the voters are registered properly and that they are, you know, that they have an opportunity to, you know, identify whether or not these are actual, whether or not these persons are actually able to vote in this particular territory. I know for me, it was really funny, last election or last month when I went to vote, I went to the wrong polling place and they were like, you have 15 minutes to get to the next polling place. And I was like, oh my God, how many other people go to the wrong polling place and then they don't make it, you know, and then they don't vote, they may not vote. So what please tell me, what can people do if they want to get inside the polling place, and work inside, work or volunteer inside the polling place?
Absolutely. So I know everybody is, aware of volunteer opportunities within any respective campaign and things of that nature. And that is all great. That is all wonderful. Another thing that you can do is there's another side of the process when it comes to voting. It's not just elections like we were talking about so far. It's laws, it's watching legislature. And so one way is to be there's two different ways. You can be a poll worker. And in order to be a poll worker, you would do a training through the North Carolina State Board of Elections, or you can reach out to your county board of elections. And there would be a training, and you would work the polls on behalf of the county to make sure things are going right, just to make sure things are running smoothly on the day up, as well as if there are any problems, people will report to you.
How long is that training?
I'm not 100% sure, since that training goes through North Carolina State Board of Elections, but it's not days long. It's just like I think it's like a one simple training. You get a guide, a handbook, that kind of thing. Okay. And I do believe there is some small form of payment with doing that through the State Board of Elections. So that's one way. Another way is to reach out to your respective party, and you can volunteer as a poll observer. And with a poll observer, that's not paid, that's a volunteer, but with poll observer, you're there to observe the process. You're there to make sure that if there's an incident where someone is turned away, that we want to make sure that that person is able to vote or document it. Each party, I believe, should probably have their own ways to document, their own helpline, all of those things. So as a poll observer, you would be there to provide that information to a voter or report to whatever party that there's an issue, we might need someone to come down.
Gosh, you was smart. So Shaundra, is there anything else that you can think of that we left out at this time? Can people contact you if they want more information on working at the polls and the voter, stuff?
Yeah, people can reach out to me via email. It's and I'm sure you probably will write this down somewhere, but it's Shaundra Y Scott at gmail.com, and it's spelled SHAUNDRA, the letter Y, SCOTT. And you can just email me, and I can put you in touch with the proper channels if that's something that you want to do, or if you have any follow-up questions, and we can make sure that we get you involved, because we definitely are seeing an increase in recruitment from all sides, and we want to make sure that everyone is covered and we have representation for everyone. So people can just reach out to me via email.
Yeah, and this is so key. When you think about it, there are people who go through a lot just to get to the poll. And the last thing you want to do is have them go through all that to get to the poll, and then not have their vote count or have their vote be questioned or anything like that. So we want to make sure that we're able to provide those mechanisms, those supports, get those supports in place so that every vote counts.
Absolutely.
Shaundra, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I love talking about this stuff. I love making sure that everyone gets information and just to be helpful in any way, shape, or form. So I appreciate it.
Okay. I thought she was gonna say she love me, but I will take the process, but I thought she was talking about me. Bring it down for a moment. Thanks again, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.